I'm going to make hopefully a quick batch of bee candy. I've put two cups of water in a stock pot. It's not real large, but it's tall, and 8 cups of sugar in here. And I've got about a medium-high flame underneath this. I'm going to check the temperature right now with an infrared thermometer that I got at my favorite store, Harbor Freight. And we're only at 182 degrees Fahrenheit. And this needs to get up to 240. As soon as the bee candy reaches 240 and starts to cool, I'm going to pour it into these two 8x8 pans that are lined with waxed paper. And that's where I will let the candy harden so that I can put it into the beehive. Another thing I wanted to show you is that I am going to add a tablespoon of Pro Health. It's a feeding stimulant with essential oils. I'm going to put a tablespoon of this into the bee candy just before I pour it out of the pot. Okay, it's been 15 minutes and I've been stirring this constantly because I don't want it to burn, and I'm going to check the temperature. Oop, it's starting to boil. It's 208 degrees, so I guess it has a little bit longer to go. Now, as this boils, it will creep up the pot. The volume of the sugar and water boiling will increase, and that's why I am using this tall pot so that it does have room to increase in volume without going over the sides of over the top of the pot. And yes, I did learn this the hard way. I just checked the temperature and it's up to 211 degrees, and I think you can see now there's foam forming at the top, and it is expanding. It's now 12:50 and the temperature is up to 223, so I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit higher on this. It seems to be leveling out at around 220, 223. So I'm going to see if I can get it closer to 240 by raising the heat. Okay, so this 2 8x8 baking pans were enough to hold the ingredients that I made in the pan. And as you can see, this is already starting to harden. Here's the bee candy that I made the other day. I just wanted to show you it comes out real hard, and you might, if you pull up on the wax paper or parchment paper, whatever you use to line your pan, you might think, oh no, you can see it's tearing, it's not going to come up. But all you do is just pop the bottom of the pan. This is a pretty sturdy pan, and that will release it. So you can see now it comes out, and then you can just peel the wax paper away. Or just tear it away and the bees will take care of the rest of it. But it's a little sticky on the bottom. So there is still moisture content in this that the bees will appreciate. I'm taking the outer cover off and I'm going to remove a syrup feeder that's on top, and I see they did not finish. Darn it. They did not drink the syrup out of here, but it's too cold to have liquid feed. So I'm going to remove this and just give them the bee candy. So we'll see what it looks like. Well, this is interesting. The bees up top. Oh, I see. They did not finish the bee candy that's in here, and the opening to the inner cover is completely sealed. So I guess this is not a good way to feed them over the winter. I guess they do need the bee candy under the inner cover. You can see in the middle here is where the opening to the inner cover is, and they have completely sealed it. There is some honeycomb coming out of it. Oh, and there's some honey dripping from it. And where there is no honeycomb, it looks like they have propolized the opening and completely sealed it. Interesting. I'm going to just cut this off. I should say I'm going to, oh gosh, that beautiful honey. I'm going to cut this off straight and then just put the cover back on. Oops, well, sorry. Oops. Ooh. Oh, I see what happened. My spacer came off at the bottom of the feeder. I had a spacer over the inner cover. There. Okay, so I'll put this spacer back on. And then put the inner cover back on. Well, so much for the plan I had. Nope, I had a plan to extend this cover, the outer cover, to make it longer. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to put this piece of 3/4 inch plywood on top and go extend the cover. And I have the new lid made. So I am going to put the quilt on. And the new lid, the extended lid. Okay, can't leave the clamps on. So here's the new cover on with the extension added to the bottom of it. And the quilt box is underneath. And there's about a 1/4 inch around the outside. So any air escaping through the top of the hive into the quilt box can rise up to the top of the lid and come down the sides and escape at the bottom of the lid. And as you can see, the bees have been busy while I was busy, and they've brought out a lot more little dead bees, which I'm assuming is just winter kill, or winter die-off, I should say. This is the hive top feeder that I removed earlier. I did want to see what the bottom looked like. Let me see. Oh, it's pretty heavy. Oh, and you can see that the bees did build honeycomb up underneath. This is the space where they can crawl up. They crawl up through the middle into this middle section, and then they can crawl down on the inside of this metal hardware cloth and drink without drowning. And then they can crawl back down into the hive.